Hi, this is Mr. Matthews, and I want to cover the notes on chromosomes. So, before we move into, or we finish up our World Health Unit and move into our genetics unit, we need to address the word chromosome. So, our essential question from the notes are, what are chromosomes exactly? When you think of chromosomes, you really need to think of the three-letter word DNA. DNA is just our genetic material. We'll definitely talk more about DNA in the future, but just know that when you hear the word chromosome, think the word DNA. And DNA is arranged into little bundles called chromosomes. It's just like wrapped up like a little cord, uh, wrapped around these proteins, and they form bundles called chromosomes. And in the middle, you have a centromere. And over to the right here, you have a picture of a single chromosome with a little centromere in the middle. The centromere just tells you really how many chromosomes there are. And within these chromosomes, you're going to find smaller segments of DNA called genes. And genes uh, are the area of the DNA that's going to code for the traits, your traits or your characteristics. If we want to look at how the DNA or this chromosome is arranged, we first need to look at how DNA copies itself. And the word we use to say that DNA is going to copy itself is replicate. DNA can replicate itself, meaning that it can make an exact copy of it of uh, of itself. Copies are called sister chromatids. So if you look at the picture here, we have there's my arrow. You have one chromosome here, and after it copies itself, you have a sister chromatid over here. And again, you have it held together by one centromere. So you still have one chromosome. It's just a copied chromosome. You just have sister chromatids. Right? Two chromatids can make up a full chromosome. And again, when you see this X right here, uh, let's go back here. When you see this X, it means that you just have a copied chromosome. Here's a really good picture. These are both chromosomes. All right, here we have a single chromosome, and here we have a chromosome with sister chromatids, right, held together by that little button there. So how do we get our DNA? And backing up just genetically speaking, and this would be important when we talk about cancer and cell cycle, you need to understand that half of your genes come from mom and half come from your dad. And chromosomes are kind of like socks. Right? They're useless if you don't have a pair of socks. Pair equals two. And if you have one sock, then you're not going to just put one sock and walk around with the other foot not covered. So they're really much like socks. They come in pairs because you get one from mom and one from dad. And the number of chromosomes is always even because you, of course, have two parents. Excuse me. Your mom's chromosomes match with your dad's chromosomes, and together, when you put them, all together, they're called homologous pairs. Homologous meaning that they're similar in size, shape, and types of genes that we're looking at for that area. So homologous pairs, again, a pair of chromosomes, one from mom, one from dad, same type of gene at the same spot, or similar size, shape, and types of genes. So if we have the gene for hair color is going to be in the same exact spot from on your mom's chromosome than on your dad's chromosome. So whatever combination of genes you get from mom and dad, that's going to give you your hair color, or eye color. And we'll talk a lot more about that in genetics, but again, we're just introducing some of the vocab that you're going to hear in the next several units. So again, you have another picture. You have from dad and from mom. Each donates a chromosome, and again, DNA copies itself. So when it copies itself, you have sister chromatids, and again, this pair, really the combination of genes that you get from each parent will make up your traits. So how much DNA is in a human nucleus? And backing up again, humans are eukaryotes, meaning that we have a nucleus, and that's where DNA is found. So one set has all the DNA from one parent, and because all living things have two parents, almost all cells have two sets of chromosomes. So the terms we use to describe one set and two set, you might be familiar with this from 7th grade, and if you're not, that's okay. But if we're talking about one set of chromosomes, that is the haploid number. And in humans, we have 46 total chromosomes, or 23, and that's our full set. So our half set would be 23. 23 chromosomes. In humans, 2 sets would be a diploid number. We refer to that as 2n, which is 46 total. Again, when we're talking about one set, that's the haploid number. It's represented by n. When we're talking about 2 sets, it's a diploid number, and that's 2n. And the interesting thing, when you are going back to this picture, again, you get half from mom and half from dad. So you're going to get a haploid number of chromosomes from dad and a haploid set of chromosomes from mom. And if you're thinking about, well, how does that actually work? Well, this is where the sperm and the egg come in. When your body makes sperm cells, they're haploid because they represent half of your DNA. When your body makes egg cells, it represents a haploid number, or half. So when you get half from mom and half from dad, you get a diploid set in the end. And we'll get more into that later on. So ways to remember this. Haploid is half. N equals 23 chromosomes. Diploid di means 2. Again, N for haploid, 2N for diploid. 46 total in humans. Our haploid number is 23. And here are some just some random sets. Humans, 23 chromosomes in one set. So that's 46 total from 2 sets, 1 from each parent. Koala bears have 7 chromosomes in one set. Potatoes, 24. Chickens, 36. Protists have 1,900 chromosomes in one set. That's a lot of DNA there. And you can look this up. I mean, it varies. Frogs, I think, have 6, maybe 12. I can't exactly remember. But you can definitely look this up on the internet. And just to give you an example, every living thing has their own set of chromosome number. And if it's an organism that's going to sexually reproduce, they're going to give a haploid number to their offspring. So each parent gives a haploid number to get a diploid number in the end. So what are 2 types of cells? You have gametes and somatic body cells. Your gametes are your sex cells. You have an egg and a sperm. That has one set of chromosomes, haploid, because each parent's going to donate a gamete, an egg or a sperm, and when you put the egg and the sperm together, you get a person. So each egg and sperm has to have a haploid set, so when you put it together, you get a full set. So the only cells in your body that are gametes are your sex cells. Only. That's the only type of cell in your body that is a half set. The rest of your cells are considered body cells. Liver cells, eye cells, skin cells, muscle cells, pancreas cells, stomach cells. All the rest of the cells in your body have 2 sets, are a diploid number. And again, it's just really important that gametes only have half of the chromosomes you need because you're made of gametes from each parent. And if that wasn't the case, let's do the math. Let's say that each parent donated a full set. Well, a full set plus a full set gives you 92. Too much. You would not survive. It's really important, again, that each parent donates 23 chromosomes to make 46 in the egg. So, what happens when the egg and the sperm come together? When haploid gametes combine, that's called fertilization. It forms a diploid zygote. That's a term that you might have heard in health class. It's a term that we'll be using for the rest of this unit. So moving forward, please make sure that you have finished the notes, that you've filled in the notes, and that you are ready to go for our lab.